Sci-fi.
Yeah, sci-fi Tucson, original Tucson, Arizona, Minneapolis transplant.
From the very beginning.
Again.
Well, I get a second shot to pretend to be. Give me the heads up when it's time to go. It's good now. All right. So, hey, everybody. Thank you. Welcome to a virtual RedCan 2020. This is our opportunity where we take it to you meet the artists who have been working for the past 4 days. They've created some amazing artwork. Please visit our Facebook page or check out our website or at www.lakotayouth.org. You could also see us on our YouTube channel. So first, I'm going to start with Collins and Jeremy. If you guys could just introduce yourself kind of quickly. There's a lot of us, so we want to move along.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sadat, and then also I have my wife is with me, but she's attending to our daughter right now. We're just happy to be a part of RedCan.
There she is.
Hi, everybody. I'm Collins Jordan, and I just want to echo off of Jeremy. I'm really proud and honored to be a part of RedCan this year as well.
Great. Hoka.
Hoka Skinador. Was living in Oklahoma, moved back to Albuquerque, New Mexico, got family in Pine Ridge, Oneida, Wisconsin, and in California as well. So glad to be here.
Great. 179.
Hi, my name is Angelina Villalobos. I'm from Seattle, Washington. My artist name is 179.
Awesome. East, my brother.
Hi, this is East, a Chicago native now living in Denver, Cherokee and adoptive Lakota. And it's my sister Julie who runs the CRYP and hosts this event. Nice to see everyone.
Dwayne.
Dwayne Manuel. I'm coming from Salt River, Arizona, and representing the Salt River people. Well, happy to be here.
Donnie.
Hey, I'm Scribe, and I'm zooming in from Kansas City, and blessed to be a part of it again this year.
Great, thank you. Welcome back. Annalie.
Annalie Howe, Cheyenne River. This is my first year at RedCan. Thank you, Julie. And it's been a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Biafra.
Biafra, Minneapolis, St. Paul, 6th year of RedCan.
Chief.
My name is Joaquin Chief. I'm Oglala Lakota, and I am coming from Rapid City, South Dakota.
Perfect. Wonder.
My name's Wonder. I am from Minnesota, the Minneapolis part, and this is my 6th year with RedCan.
Awesome. Sci-fi.
Sci-fi Tucson, Arizona, Minneapolis transplant. Proud to be a part of RedCan.
Great.
Good to see you.
Thank you so much, you guys. It's really good to see you. You know, one of the joys of RedCan is bringing all this energy to our community. So it's been a little different, and just seeing your faces though really makes me feel great again and energized. And earlier I was a little tired, but now I'm all powered up. So we're going to start by asking you a few questions, you know, and for right now, this is the question is kind of directed at those of you who have been to RedCan before. And the question is, for those of you who've participated in previous RedCans, what makes you coming back? What's your favorite? And if you could give us like one of your favorite memories, that would be great. Whether it's about your mural or the kids or something that happened in the community or just, you know, really great conversation you had with Julie. Anything, just go ahead. Why don't we go with start?
Yeah, for me, it just gives me an opportunity to do something out of the norm. You know, it gives me a reason and a purpose to do something that's more pertinent to you know, to our culture. And you know, I spend a lot of time painting, but I don't always paint things of this nature or murals that are that bring awareness to our culture. So this, you know, RedCan's just been a great starting point and a little fire that gets lit that allows me to actually do something like that. And my favorite part is always, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there in person, but my favorite part is always the drum circles. That drum always gets straight to my soul. So I think I've been in six RedCans at this point, and I'm just happy that I was able to come to the first one and continue going. I love it. I love the energy, and I love being back in touch with my people.
Yeah. Well, we love you and we miss you. So next year we'll be together again. I'm just going to believe that. All right. Dwayne, give us some thoughts.
Yeah, well, the reason why I keep coming back to RedCan, I just love being part of the community, and it's really tight getting to be part of the event to help this community out. And one of my favorite memories of RedCan is the time me and my girlfriend got locked out of our room in the dorms, and Biafra and Wonder tried to help us get in with as many tricks as they knew, but we ended up getting I can't remember his name to help us out, but that was fun.
Oh, yeah, you have to be careful with those doors. If you
yeah.
For some reason, we don't have a key. I don't understand. Yeah, that's pretty weird. Hoka.
Yeah. Gosh, there's so many things. It's hard to kind of narrow down to just one or two. Honestly, it's one of the most unique kind of events I've ever participated in general. I would say, it's hard to find a place where you can go into a community and really find, kids to adults to elders to other artists, where everyone is really excited about not only last year's murals but the upcoming ones. And there's just this total environment where people are walking down the street, they're excited to see the work and they're excited to see what new things we come up with. And it's also that sense of community where people, the things they want to see in those designs, whether it's stories or language, actually get put out, for everyone to see. And so that community involvement as well. I mean, it's just such a unique environment. There's nothing that I've experienced that's like it. And I love coming back to it. So it's amazing. And I'm actually thankful that we get to have this virtual version so we can kind of respect the community safely and still show them that we've got a lot of love for them by doing the artwork in the places that we come from.
That's fabulous. Thank you. I'd like to hear from Sci-Fi. I think you've been here, this would be your 5th year?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not, how many years has it been? I think maybe not 5th year. I think the first year I missed out on, where I wasn't quite in Minneapolis just yet. Maybe the first, 2nd year. Regardless, I just feel so connected to everyone involved, and meeting everyone, and for the art that they create, you have this gravitational pull towards them because of what they create, but then you get to see them individually as human and giving back to culture, giving back to humanity, and you witness that at RedCan. It makes it very different from any graph festival that I've ever attended, and the fact that they're careless to their ego, and they just paint for the community, and then the works that they create, you can see that in the work through the stories, and yeah, it makes me really proud to be a part of that.
Excellent. Wonder, you there?
I am here. Geez, let's see here. I mean, I have so many memories, I guess, now from doing this so many times, but I don't know. It is just, I kind of have to piggyback off of that. It's amazing. I don't know, bringing something to a culture, to a community, something that didn't originate there. And then, I don't know, kind of almost leaving it behind, and then coming back to it like a seed, to see that it has grown and that it has created this change in the community. It's, I don't know, really amazing.
Thank you so much. Scribe, you missed a couple years, but you're back.
I am. It's great to be back. Thank you for having me again. I think I've got like several different memories. I think one of them was when I was working on the large Turtle Island mural on the outside of town. Was like watching people kind of confused by what I was sketching up there and sort of questioning me and where it was going. And then as the story started to reveal itself, like watching the amount of love and involvement and people that were coming up and talking to me about like what I was doing and thanking me in the community. I think also like looking out over the park and seeing kids like do artwork, 8-deck stuff. And then one of my other favorite memories was when I really like how on some of them you guys had brought in speakers or we went on a field trip, and when we got a chance to go out into the land and see the roaming herd of buffalo, that was an experience that really touched my life.
Jeremy, you've been with us. This is your 5th year, 4th year?
4th year, I believe.
Yeah. What keeps you coming back?
I think the biggest thing for me is just the nature of community. I think being able to be present to RedCan and just seeing all of the interaction and like everybody has been saying, the appreciation that's expressed for all of us coming from outside, spaces and coming in and being able to share our artwork, and the way that it causes us to kind of push our boundaries. I think, I think when we come into Eagle Butte and with the themes that are set forward, it helps a lot of us step out of the norm of what we paint, kind of like East was saying, and but even at that though, I think what I appreciate is just the community of the RedCan family, all of the artists that continue to return and just what it's created is just amazing. I know that we all kind of maybe build off of one another, learn from one another, and at the same time getting to connect on a human level. I know being a part of different graffiti events and graph jams, a lot of times you meet with people and it's just kind of very quick and in passing, and you don't really get to know the people. You get to view their art and watch what they do, but very rarely do you really get to connect on a real, I would even say spiritual level, because I mean with all of the the talking circles and the prayer and every which way that the event is facilitated is beautiful. It makes everybody connect on a much deeper level. So I think that's one thing that sets it apart from anything I've ever been a part of, and just even just the contrast of where it's located. I mean, it left an impression on me the first time that I came into town, and it wasn't even for RedCan. I came to do some work in the community, but I had been following RedCan for the previous years, and driving into town, it was crazy to me because, there's world-class murals in such a small place, that you're used to seeing in Los Angeles or Chicago, Kansas City, something like that, but you just drive down, Main Street within about 3 and 4 blocks, it's just like an entire art district, just situated out in the middle of the plain. So it's mind blowing.
It is really mind blowing. When I think about Eagle Butte, I think about life in Eagle Butte really being about the art, and it's just so gorgeous. And I remember some news article came out and they were talking about the most colorful cities in America. And I believe Rapid City, South Dakota was mentioned. And I was thinking, they forgot Eagle Butte, South Dakota. So I wrote them. They didn't get back to me, but I sent them a note thinking, you guys got to come check this out. But anyway, we have some newcomers, and I find it really, really interesting and really what I love. So I'm going to start with you, Anna, because she very quietly came to the cafe one day and she came up to me and she goes, I think I want to try RedCan this year. I was like, right on. So yeah, so maybe talk to us a little bit, Anna Lee, about what captured your attention.
A lot of it is just the murals that you see throughout the years, and then also just the whole idea of like what it gives back to the community. And it's like a subtle, also just a subtle message which people don't really probably know or can't put a finger on it. It's like giving back to the community what they need, and it's giving back to their soul, and they are able to see art, and it's not in a book, and it's right there where they can see it every day. It's amazing. And of course, I've done a couple of art director projects, and And that was the main objective, is to give it to the people so that they can see it without getting a book that sits on your coffee table and never gets open. So, and the other thing too was just like getting out of my comfort zone and just wanting, you know, if you didn't like it, it's okay. I would just go and paint over it and I can walk away. So it doesn't bother me that way at all either. So
It was wonderful, by the way. I love it. Angelina, I know that sci-fi introduced you to the family, but did you know about RedCan before?
I did. I had a few friends who came. I used to belong to the collective Few and Far, and some of the gals came out a few years before. And so that's kind of how it kind of hit my radar. But my programming I do is also in education and in mural painting. So I just thought it was a really beautiful way for me to expand that and help other people just find their creative voice. So I'm very, very excited to be a part of.
Really welcome you to our family. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And Chief, like how fortuitous that I ran into you in JCPenney that day.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm really honored that I get to be a part of this. This is something that when I moved out here, I had heard on the radio, and I was like blown away. I was almost hard to believe that there is an event like this happening, and I was like, how do I become a part of this? And eventually met a few artists like Tyler and Derek, and they invited me to come up and check it out. And I went up there with my wife for last year's event and was just blown away by all of the art. Like Jeremy was saying, it was just amazing. Like, you know, it's like something you'd see in like a big city, but like out on the res, it's amazing. It just makes the community so beautiful. And I'm just really honored to be included in a group of such amazing artists and to be a part of such a great movement to help our communities.
Thank you very much. It's really interesting because all the feedback that I get, and you guys are all my family, and I look forward to seeing you. But I remember some of the conversations where everybody was just like, East is going to be there. Now East is my brother, and you're never really impressed with your brother. So they're always talking about its art. So I thought, well, I better start to pay attention to this guy. Well, in the end, I think he does some pretty cool work. So I'm pretty proud of him. But so this year, virtual year, we thought it would be helpful because, of course, all the murals that you create are, related to our Lakota culture, indigenous culture, and our roots. We created some themes for you guys to help you out as you painted in your own communities. They were changing the narrative, remember your medicines, empowered by our ancestors. So I was kind of curious if you could maybe tell us what was behind the creation of your mural, like which one of those ideas or topics inspired you, and then maybe just tell us a little bit about your mural. I will start with Biafra.
Oh, okay. Our mural, we were trying to come up with a theme that would resonate with Lakota culture and also what's going on in the Twin Cities right now. And so we decided to go with animals that in Lakota stories are protectors and overseers and ancestors, and then intermix that with words like Mataquios and then Tioshpae and stuff like that, just as a reminder for the community here that, it's a family and we're all related, and just trying to, kind of overlap those two worlds. And it's been well received so far, so that's exciting.
Great, thank you. Sci-Fi and Wonder, you all tag team together for this Minneapolis mural. Did you want to add to any of those thoughts?
Wonder?
Yeah, I guess that kind of sums it up there. I don't know. I like the imagery of just having these big oversized protectors, someone like symbolic of someone to look up to in times like this. I felt like I don't know, it was a big powerful statement, and oftentimes I think protection can also have a level of intimidation to it, and I think by the way that we kind of spliced our styles together to show different views of these animals. It really kind of brought some fun into it, kept it fun for the kids, kept it serious for the really for whoever wants to take it whatever way. I think it left a lot of interpretation, but just the size of these big animals I felt was a really powerful, impactful part of the piece.
Can you remind us which animals are included in your mural?
Yeah, so we have a bear in the mural. We also have a wolf, a eagle, and a buffalo.
Beautiful, beautiful. Sci-fi, you have anything to add?
Yeah, our approach, and this is the first time that we've actually collabed together. It was really, we learned a lot from each other. We added to what each person represented for themselves in like stylistic approach and visual language. When you paint something that it's a visual language, you identify with this is the way that you paint. And even though your approach may be different every time, there's still something that carries with you in that approach. That this is who I am. This is the way. Result of one piece, not three individual pieces. It was really beautiful. I really appreciated this time. And while we were doing it, we also took into consideration what was appropriate, not for ourselves and for our own visual aesthetics. Like, I was speaking with Wonder, and I was just like, "Yo, what if you did like a headband and you put a feather in there?" And he recited something that was told to him out of respect, and me, completely aware of that. It was the visual identity and visual language that was expressed, that I was like, okay, even though that would make for that, we still took in consideration what would be respectful. And I think that if we had not experienced RedCan, we may not have taken away that expression. And I'm of an indigenous relation and culture, but still I'm a visual artist. I see things in a way where it's beautiful, and the way you platform a cherry on top of a cupcake, or sprinkles on top of an ice cream cone, it's the aesthetic and things that you bring to it that make it beautiful. But with that said, when somebody else tells you, oh yeah, make sure that you approach this in a way that it's the most respectful because of the people that you're paying tribute to, it was really amazing. I'm sorry if I got too wordy on that, but I just really admire that time spent with them and what we expressed through our painting. Yeah, it really brought us together, and it made one painting, and it complemented. Like, it's probably one of the best paintings that I felt comfortable with, and it's a collab between three artists. I loved it.
Yeah, it's really really remarkable. 179. How about sharing some of your thoughts?
Sharing my thoughts on the piece that I did.
Yeah. When we talked about those three topics that we gave you, and then what you went on to create.
I think my brain and my heart went to the ancestors and the medicine. And for me, my work is so personal. I internalize everything, and I always think about, I ask myself a series of questions. And so what I did with that is I personalized it. And being new to RedCan and not knowing, just not knowing anything and wanting to keep my heart
food myself, food, health, healthy diets. And I feel like preserving our indigenous foods is important, and it rang true to me. And I also, like I said, knew that that was something that was very true and dear to your heart. Growing up as a kid, I had mentioned that you know, we used to eat pheasant. You had mentioned that pheasant wasn't something that was necessarily in the South Dakota indigenous tribe diet, but as I was searching through for other indigenous foods for that area, I came across this prairie chicken and was immediately drawn to him. I mean, what an interesting character. So I thought he'd be a great subject matter. I think indigenous food sovereignty is something that needs to be discussed and is very important. And preserving, you know, preserving our indigenous foods and keeping those things alive. And you know, to your subjects, I feel like that could also fall under, you know, good medicine. These foods that you know, our ancestors ate and that we are basically built for and made to eat. If we can get back to those, I think it would be great for all of our health and great for the culture in general.
Great. I love that prairie chicken because he's courting.
He is full blown. He was a lot more interesting with his sack fully expanded like that. So I really like the visual of it.
Very interesting bird for sure. Very tasty, I think. So, Scribe, do you want to go ahead and move on with that?
Yeah, I kind of focused on the good medicine part of it also, but I was maybe not thinking about like food as medicine. When I listened in on the panel on medicine, I was happy to hear about all the different approaches that people look. There's the buffalo toy that's sticking out of his backpack, and I was thinking about the toy drive that you guys do in December. And then like even on his pants, the patterning was a Lakota symbol for day and night, which I know this is something that you guys are thinking about day and night, is doing things for your community. And then the patterning on his shirt, which is the turtle, made me think about like your cafe, also tied into the Turtle Island piece that I did before. And even though it has these big claws and it's something that like fiercely, you know, can be a fighter, it's carrying like a large piece of the, you know, the braided sweetgrass that's smoking. So it's like protecting in a peaceful way. And so that, I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell.
That's amazing. You know, your first mural here, the Turtle Island one, people don't want me to take it down. We're gonna buff it to get it ready for another mural, but they're like, just leave it up for another year. So, and it looks great. It looks really, really great. Collins, it's beautiful. It really is. So you'll have to come back though. Apparently that wall is for you, and it's a big one. Okay, excellent. Jeremy and Collins, do you want to talk about your mural?
Yeah, I think maybe we can begin with Collins, because the design that she created of the floral, that was what we originally started with. So that's kind of the route that we took, but I'll let her kind of talk a little bit about that.
So the floral piece that I had designed was with our culture in mind, of course. And you know, when we go out and pick our medicines during the summertime is usually when we harvest everything, and you know, we have a lot of teachings from our elders, like whether it's sage or choke cherries, whatever it may be. But if you take a deeper look into those medicines, you see that they are so much more than just smudging off or picking berries. Those plants are actually our medicine cabinets, modern day times and traditional times. And so in my mind, I was thinking like, wow, how beautiful is that Unchimaka, or Mother Earth, just loves us so much that she's providing everything we need to heal ourselves right here and now. And I thought that was powerful. And especially this year, it's been an amazing journey to continue do continuous research and see plants right in our backyard, and knowing that they, you know, help your livers or kidney or eyesight or depression, and how much that benefits not only my family but our people if we only just did a little bit of research. So that floral piece was my perception of how I view flowers or plants or berries and everything that's located here on Unchimaka.
So we kind of centered the rest of the mural around that, and the phrase that we wanted to incorporate, we wanted to include the language. So we reached out to some relatives and found the translation for "We all honor life." So the mural itself depicts a young lady, which is kind of a reference, I think, to like the MMIW, you know, in a space in that phrase of being able to say honor life, you know, being able to depict the beauty of our indigenous women and the value that sits there, and the connection that they have to earth through that female side. But in the mural, her hand is extending out and she's holding that seed within her hand. So it's kind of depicting that process of motherhood as well, bringing forward life. And then we also included that meadowlark there as well, just because that's kind of a signal when spring arrives and winter comes to an end. The meadowlarks return, and you'll start to hear their beautiful song, you know, throughout the day. And you know, it kind of signals an awakening and just coming forth of new life. But I think for the both of us, you know, we both have a very strong relationship to nature. You know, we're constantly hiking and learning about medicines and things, and it's just been a huge part of our life. So we wanted to incorporate that in. So we kind of drew on the thought of being powered by ancestors, and the you know, the part about the medicines too. So.
Thank you very much. Collins, I want you to create me a pair of earrings with your design. You and I have to talk about over choke cherry jelly. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
If you bring me choke cherry jelly, we'll sit down.
We will.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Annalie, you want to share some thoughts?
Sure. So on the healing part of it is that I think that it starts with us, starts with you personally. And one thing that I did was I planted choke cherries in my own backyard. I collected the yucca plant from the prairie and brought it into my yard. Artemisia is a good plant to have, and there's quite a few different ones. Of course, the sage is related to the Artemisia. And then this year I did a herbal garden, which is, it's not just thyme and rosemary and spearmint. I put in like bee balm and butterfly plant, and St. John's wort is another one that people hear about. And so there's chamomile, which chamomile tea is good for you know, your stomach. It's good for sleep and everything. The other thing too is just understanding our weeds as a that you can use. And one thing I shared with you guys was that I took took the dandelions and I made an oil out of them. And I also did one with some cadella flowers. And I've also dried the plantain, which is called the white man's feet, because it showed up on our prairie after the people started going through and traveling to Oregon. And it has some really good ones. But my mural has also just a reflection of missing my mom and listening to her words throughout through growing up with her. And she would use some sayings like, it only happens once in a blue moon. And she would talk about oh my stars, when she'd be, like something excited happened. And so the reflection on that mural has to do with like the grandmother, the mother, the daughter, and the grandbaby, the granddaughter. So, and then it also is the relationship that I have with the stars and the moon and just that whole celestial happening. And it also is just, like your everyday life. And then being able to go out and collect sage and then also being given it as a gift and then being able to give it to like the co-workers. I think that's all a reflection of how we maintain the good medicines, so to say. And so we can also look at it in reflective and in that's what RedCan does. It gives to people, that whole, it gives them some stability, but it also gives to their spirit and their heart what they don't even know that they need. And that is that, just being able to see art for art's sake, but also to see art for, look at it one day and then the next it gives you another message. So all of that helps the people, and it helps us all, Julie. So this whole project is just totally amazing, and just listening to people and watching them throughout the last couple of years, and their reaction to it has just been, I think, being around Dupree, Eagle Butte area. Now Dupree needs some help, guys. We need a lot of help, but
figuring out a
we'll
way.
work on it.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
I've been approached, so we'll get there eventually. But, Chief, you were working with kind of an audience today doing your mural. But
Yeah,
share your
all
thoughts?
4 days there's a lot of kids there, and they're helping me out, and they're all interested and ask me about it. And are you done yet? Are you done yet? What's it gonna say? What's it say? So I'd show them my drawing. Oh wow, that's really cool. And then like I could hear them in the background. They're like telling their friends about it. Yeah, he makes this place look better. And like, so that was really cool. And like I painted there before. Last summer it's a memorial skate park, and so it was made a memorial of this young man, Toby Eaglebull, and he lost his life. But he was really passionate about skateboarding and always wanted there to be a skate park in Pine Ridge, and that finally came true. And so they named the skate park after him. And so I got to go and paint it last year during their Toby Eaglebull Classic, or the Toby Classic. It's a skate competition that they have every year, and that was a really great experience. I got a lot of like sense of community. Like I got a lot of really positive feedback and a lot of love, and it was just really cool to connect with everyone in the community, because I grew up away from my community in California, so it was really great to have that connection. And because of the pandemic, the skate competition was canceled this year, and I thought that the phrase "powered by our ancestors" would be appropriate to put in a skate park, because there's a lot of skateboarders and BMXers, and they have to, that's kind of like their way to channel that, those kind of like warrior attributes like bravery and fortitude and perseverance. And so I just thought it would be appropriate to paint there. And I got a lot of really positive feedback from all the skaters and the bikers. And it was just a really great experience. And then also being able to connect with everyone doing their projects all across the country was really cool. And yeah, I had a really great time. It was pretty straightforward. I just took the message and painted the letters because I'm just a letter based artist. I'm not so great at painting imagery and stuff like that. So I kind of just stuck to what I'm good at, or okay at, I guess.
It's awesome. I saw your work. It was great. Oka?
Yeah, the one that jumped out like just right away for me was changing the narrative, and I think it jumped out for a number of reasons. And the first one was just thinking about the discussion around, you know, not only Cheyenne River closing, but Pine Ridge as well. And you know, there's this, to me, it seemed very clear that it was about protecting community. And so I felt like to support that decision in both of those places, because I have family in Pine Ridge and friends, as well as, you know, all my new family from Cheyenne River. I wanted to kind of show some solidarity by making that statement of Lakota strong, you know, showing this is a strength by being able to protect everyone, you know, from youth to the elders, but I mean, especially the elders. And so it just intrigued me that people had a negative reaction to this, that maybe don't have an understanding of Indigenous culture being so centered around taking care of everyone and really thinking about that well-being of an entire community. And so I thought about that as being kind of a main drive for wanting to paint just some basically straight up graffiti letters. But so I think there's strength in that too, is just when you see those letters, you know, they can be very forceful. And so just putting it in with that message was kind of a motivator. But then thinking kind of on a larger scale, like everybody that participates in this, they really do change the narrative. And I think they change the discussion about what kind of art gets made, art in public spaces and Indigenous art, and how those things are important and how they're centered in certain communities, that people are looking to have these things in other places as well. And that it's grown from this, you know, initial seed into this wonderful, wonderful thing that, you know, over the years has gotten the attention of many other people. But really, the people in Eagle Butte have this beautiful work that's all around them. And it's just surprising to me because everybody says they want more and they are so excited for all of it, you know. And I come from Albuquerque, so I'm used to the mural scene here and then the graffiti scene as well. And, you know, this is a pretty vibrant arts community in this place, but just that enthusiasm that I've seen up there, it can't be matched. You know, there's just a love for the work that gets made, but I think it's because the community's invested in it like so deeply that it makes such a huge difference too. And so, yeah, just I want to thank all my fellow participants too, because really everybody is changing that narrative of, you know, what art can be, what art means in public spaces, and, you know, just thinking broader about what the narrative about art can be. So that's one of the things that motivated my piece.
Thank you for that. For those of you watching who might not know the situation on Cheyenne River, it's important to understand when COVID arrived, one of the things that our tribe did, our tribal government decided to do, was establish checkpoints at all the borders and all the highways leading in. And as a result of that, there was some resistance from the state of South Dakota and our governor. And I'm not trying to be political. This is just the truth. But, you know, it was a very simple thing that they did it for, which is to take care of us. Our tribal government was trying to take care of us. They were, you know, looking out for our elders. And that was a very scary thing because they're the keepers of culture and language. And, you know, if we lose that. And so, you know, thank you for that really thoughtful you know, thinking that way about it, because it was important for them to, and we still have the health checkpoints that are set up. And I think I want to add this to you at all, like right now, you know, that you, I was talking to, somebody asked a question to a young person that we were working with and asked, how can we best be allies with your community? And he said, you know, don't be an ally, he said, be a community member. So I really need you guys to understand that you're just not even just community members, you're family. You're part of us, and the work that you're doing and the murals that you're painting, helping us tell our stories, reminding us every day of our power and what's important. And I mean, I think you guys need to really understand like how impactful, that finger and that spray can is to our community and what it means for us. This is the first year that, and I have to say, I was not a great organizer. I kind of let everybody else take it because they had to go digital, or not digital, virtual. And I don't have a clue about how to do that, but Tyler and everybody else did a fabulous job. But, I'm sure there had to be challenges for you, especially for those of you who've been here before. But we're thinking about next year's RedCan, and we're all going to be back together. We're going to find a way to be back together. What were some of the challenges in comparison that you felt that, not being here? But also we'd like to kind of hear what were the positives, because, I think that RedCan, it has been requested in so many other communities, and, obviously we can't be everywhere, but, this virtual path that we've taken on is something that could go that way, so if you were to think about just not painting here in Eagle, just not painting challenges, what were the positives? And I'll start with I don't want to start with East.
Well, I had a very interesting situation. I had allocated this wall long ago, and then a few days before I was coming to actually paint the mural, I went and talked to the building residents, only to find out that I did not have permission to paint a mural on the wall. So that was a big shock. But after apparently, let me add a little more context. The owner of the building doesn't even live here in Denver. He's a gentleman who's just a property owner. He lives in California. And when he had heard about the possibility of a mural going up, even though that the wall was covered in illicit graffiti, he did not want the painting. So after speaking with the woman who was in charge of the building here in Denver, after her telling me no, and I explained the situation and what it was for, she told me she would just act like she never spoke to me and turn a blind eye. So I painted, I got to actually paint the wall that I thought I had permission for, and apparently the owner changed his mind and said he did not want anything. So that was the challenge. Yeah, it ended up being illegal. But the positive is that during painting all of this, the entire community here has just been overwhelmed with the imagery and how nice it looks, and how it's it's just putting a better face on the community here, because the stuff that was here before, it was really poorly done, just raw graffiti, and they didn't have any kind of connection to it. They didn't know what they were looking at. And at least, if they do get the message of the indigenous foods, or if they don't, they at least recognize that this is some kind of bird, and it can at least start a dialogue. So they were really happy with what was going on, and that the illicit graffiti was going to the wayside.
Thank you. I'm glad you didn't go to jail.
Yeah, me too.
I'd have had to start a GoFundMe or something.
It would have been a nice, interesting addition to RedCan though this year.
It would have been a good story for sure. Scribe, what about you? You had a pretty big wall.
Yeah. Luckily Kansas City is abundant, with a lot of buildings and stuff like that. And there's another jam that happens around here called Masterpiece. And a friend of mine who I'm painting with that goes by years was able to locate us a wall in the community. So like we lucked out that was pretty easy, but yeah, we took on I have a tendency to like see big things and feel like I got to cover it. But as we worked out there in the community, I was thinking a lot about how the amount of people that would drive up, and some of them, you know, already knew who I was and knew my work, and it opened some real, like, more thoughtful dialogues on why I was painting what image, and to be able to share about like what RedCan was and what you know, CYRP is about, and the amount of people that like actually whipped out their phones and either wrote it down or tried to like. So the thing that I really liked about you know, I really terribly being in the community, you guys, but I think you guys have done a fantastic job of being able to transcend the borders. So at the same time that you guys have like closed your borders for protection, this has also allowed us, I guess, to be surrogates and sort of like step farther out of those borders for you guys and share that stuff with different parts of the world. So some of the Lakota values and stuff now have been sprinkled more, you know, throughout the country instead of just within that community. But you know, next year we definitely need to come back and spread the love there too.
Sci-fi, and I guess you guys can kind of tag team your response, and you were all together. But what were some of the challenges? What was really great about this? What do you see as the positives?
I mean, at the moment, it's so nice to, you know, with all the social distancing, seeing everybody's face and hearing their stories. It's really nice. It's like being there, which is reason that we come back time and time again. I can't say, I mean, aside from the weather, we really didn't have any struggles. But it was nice to share with people why we were doing it, and continuously why we've done it for the last couple of years. You know, and just a mixture of what the imagery was and who we were painting it for. You know, we took a sense of pride that we belong to something, and it's an invitational. You know, there's a certain person, not because of caliber of artist, but who you are as an individual in your heart, and just caring for something more, and appreciating that you're a part of a bigger picture. You know, that you take away that with you, and you bring it back every year. That's really how I felt. But yeah, it's really great. It's really great to see every one of you. Yeah, miss you guys. And even more with this social distancing, I was really happy to get out and paint, which is why I'm so eager to get back out there and create something of substance, but challenge myself. So yeah, it's really good seeing everyone, even just virtually, because this is what the world has come to right at this moment. But yeah, good to be a part of it. Good to see each and every one of you.
Thank you. Wonder or Biafra, did you want to add to any of that?
Yeah. I felt like this year it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because it was a good way to expand the just the reach of RedCan. You know, like I've told friends every year that I'm going out there, and you know, and people say, oh, I'm going to make it out this year, I'm going to come see it. But it's hard. I mean, realistically, to have somebody just travel that far to come out and check out an event, you know. So this way I felt like gave people from the community that we're in. Sorry, I have a baby in the background here. Anyways, I had from the, you know, where we are, to really kind of give them a little taste of this. And you know, obviously it was also a bit of a disconnect, just because, like, I feel like when I go to Eagle Butte, I mean, I am in it up to the gills in the community, you know, like so it's hard to kind of vicariously experience that part of RedCan from here, but this kind of makes up for it, getting to see everybody like this.
John, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I think, well, one thing that I think it really made me appreciate was the amount of prep that you guys do when some of that stuff got put onto us. Like, okay, you got to get your paint order in, and then all of a sudden we're like in charge of finding the wall, buffing the wall, scraping the wall. All that stuff is all stuff that you guys have done before, and I think I don't want to say that we've taken it for granted, but you know, it's kind of like you show up and you're like, let's paint. And this one, it was like, oh my gosh, this is what they do before we get there. So I think it was, you know, it was eye opening.
Thank you. Thanks for that appreciation. Jeremy?
I can't really say that there were too many challenges. I mean, I think the only one is just during the time that we were doing it right now that the Sturgis motorcycle rally is going on. So there was like tremendous traffic up and down the alley, and there was a lot of people trying to take pictures. So it kind of interrupted with the work progress at different points. But other than that, I mean, everything went really well. We had a lot of good conversation from a lot of just people from out of town. I guess that was one interesting thing, is that there was people from all over the country in town for that rally, and we had a lot of good conversation and shared about, you know, Cheyenne River Youth Project and just what RedCan was, and had a lot of people like kind of take note of what it was. We had some like national journalists that were wandering around and kind of caught wind of it, so we, you know, we gave them the social media and the website, all of that kind of stuff. So it was good to see people take interest and kind of take hold of it. I think one of the other just really powerful things about it was seeing the Native community here in Rapid City, their response to the mural. You know, in the evening time, a lot of people would come down to the alley and kind of check it out. And you know, when Native people would come around the corner and they'd see the portrait or, you know, the design and stuff, they were just like, oh man, thank you. You know, they were just so appreciative just to have some representation, you know. And right now that mural is the largest one down there in Art Alley, and it's really probably one of the only ones that's, I mean, I guess of that quality or caliber. It's just a lot of smaller murals and stuff like that. So I think for the Native community to have that representation, they really appreciated it, you know. So that made us feel good, you know, to know even in that kind of space, we were creating space for our people, you know, and for them to be able to have something to look at and appreciate and just kind of bring forward a sense of pride. So
thank you. Hoka, did you have any thoughts?
Boy, yeah, there was kind of the usual technical difficulties like wind, dust blowing up my nose, and mosquitoes. It's all that fun stuff. But really, the thing that I'm really missing right now is all the young people, you know, all the youth. Because man, there's just something about that energy that they have, especially when they're like they're gunning for a wall at the art park, cans in the hands, they're just spraying away, like creating. Like I love that, and like I really like, I feel I miss that. I definitely miss that. But that also became a motivator for me. Like every little, you know, cutback that I was doing and little embellishment that I was doing on my piece was like, I'm doing it for them. I'm thinking of them, and I wish that I was there with them right now, but I'm going to try to make this piece the best one I can, thinking about them. So it kind of worked out, I guess.
Well, that's the perfect lead into my next question, which is throughout the week, we've been talking about CRYP and RedCan and our arts programming. So we're just kind of looking for some advice from you all. What thoughts or advice would you guys give us about our arts programming? What are some ideas that we can, you know, capture the imagination of our young people, make our program better, make it greater? Yeah, any thoughts that you have any advice you want to give us? Why don't we start with you, Duano?
Oh, can you swing back around to me while I think about that for a second?
Okay, yeah, I will. Or even if you guys want to just talk about how we can make RedCan more impactful, if you want to just stay focused on that. But for those of you who have been here, who have taught, been a part of, you know, the programming, if you have any ideas, just kind of like raise your hand and I won't call on you. But if you have any thoughts about what can we do with RedCan, because it's already pretty impactful, right? It's already really great. How can we make it greater? How can we reach more people? I have to tell you, you know, we never started RedCan as a vandalism, like an abatement program at all. But I can tell you that in all the years now, 5 years that you have been creating murals in our community, there's no defacement, there's no vandalism, there's no tagging that takes place on this artwork. And I think part of that is because it's such powerful artwork. It's so meaningful, it's so culturally relevant. So, you know, you guys have to, you know, if you didn't feel great before, like that's just something really special, I think, that our community is telling you. But you know, there's always room for improvement. And if, you know, if you guys just think we're perfect, that's fine. But have any thoughts you'd like to share with us, we'd love to hear them. Last night, I think every panel we had, we asked for advice from those of you on the panel. So if you have anything, great. You know, one of the things that we hope to do is build a art space specifically for our art program. The Waniatuwawapi, it's a big one, Waniatuwawapi Lakota Youth Arts and Culture Institute has grown so much. So we need a new building. So we've started, you know, creating the schematics for it. It's going to be a net zero building, and it's going to be so fabulous. And it's going to be located right within the art park. I mean, how perfect is that, right? So, you know, as we build these spaces and we dream about this building, maybe ideas that you might have, I'll send you all the schematics. You guys can give me your ideas. You know, what about the programming?
I think the thing that resonates with me the most, and I'm not sure if everyone remembers, but speaking from personal experience, there was someone on the drum line, drum circle, and their daughter was affected completely and had dealt with trauma due to suicide, you know, whether they partook in the exiting of like whatever life or thing that had been bestowed upon them. But the fact that art and togetherness and culture and aspiration to live a better life affected them because of what you've created, what the values that your mother instilled in you to create a program like that. That struck me. That I hold dear to me every time that I visit. And when he spoke on that was the change, that's what I go back for every year. And it was somebody on the drum line, right? That spoke about that. And you know, whenever I bring up RedCan and you know, people ask me really, what are you doing out there? Why are you going out to the middle of nowhere? And aside of contributing to indigenous culture, which right now we need more than ever, because politically where people are standing is not on, you know, fully on the right side. You know, especially in South Dakota or Dakota, wherever the Midwest. You know, I take that with me every time. Is that inspiration of someone that's now participating, that was choosing not to live, and that's what I express to someone every time that I mention RedCan is that this program that Julie created is impactful to the world as I know it. And anywhere that I paint, what I'm doing around this time of the year is always what I plan on doing for the rest of my life. So
that's awesome. Thank you.
I have a light-hearted kind of suggestion. I think East needs to go out there and paint a couple prairie chickens and then do a live feed of him learning how to cook one.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea, East. We're on it.
I think he'd be like the Swedish chef.
We could even take you hunting. Then we'll cook it.
Hey, we got to bring back the Swede. Where's he at? Where's Serval?
Yeah, exactly.
The Swedish.
So I'm actually getting the finger, not the finger, but I'm getting the word that we're kind of close to closing up. But so I wanted to ask all of you, if you could, if you would like to communicate something, or what do you hope to communicate to the Cheyenne River Lakota Nation through your mural, through the mural that you created, through the murals that you've come here and created? Like, you know, like Sci-Fi, you just did a beautiful job of why you come back and what it means. So I guess I'd like to just hear from you, kind of like as our closing question, like, what do you hope to communicate to our community through the artwork that you've brought to Cheyenne River? And of course, elsewhere this year. Can I start with you, Duano?
Yeah. So what I would hope to communicate with the people of the Cheyenne River and Eagle Butte is to have pride in who you are and where you come from, to embrace your culture, not only your traditional culture, but as well as the culture that you kind of live in. I guess you would say Western society, because that's kind of what we all are nowadays. So just to embrace that, and just to keep doing what you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you different. If you want to be an artist, be an artist. If you want to paint walls, paint walls. I guess that's what I want to communicate with my work.
Very much. 179.
I always think back on, I think my message would be for youth, to the youth audiences, and thinking back on my time when I was a youth, is that the phrase, your existence is resistance, always resonates with me. And I always try to make it a point to share that with youth, that your existence, whatever it is you want to do, the act that you're doing it is that resistance. So just perhaps that I am here, I'm ready, I am listening. So many times youth are being talked at and not really listened to, but I would love to be more of an ear and a heart than a speaker.
John?
I think the message, I think is kind of that, we love you guys, and we are honored as artists that you are willing to let us use our platforms to amplify your voices. I think it's, I think it's given all of us a new look at what we do, and I think we all really appreciate it.
Thank you. East, my brother.
He's cooking chickens right now.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead with Scribe, and then we'll come back to East.
I think really I'd just like to say that, like, I can, my whole family continues to see you guys and value your community. You've touched our hearts, and we want to do anything we can, like John said, to help amplify that voice in a way, because I know that there's a lot of kids out there all over the world, actually, that don't feel like that they're being heard, or communities that don't feel being heard. Be a part of that. So as long as the community wants me there, then I'll do it in order to help tell a story.
Yeah, I think that it's I guess just a sign of alliance, that we want to do what we can to promote the right values, and kind of wipe away a level of ignorance, or people, they don't understand, they don't know, and I guess really the best way to learn something is to experience it kind of firsthand and kind of dive in, but also just kind of I don't know, help with in whatever way we can, you know. And now that like I guess now that sorry, I think that's all I got.
Okay, all right. Chief?
Yeah, I would like to, I think the message of um, powered by our ancestors, that to remember that in these difficult times that we can draw on the power from our ancestors, because we are all descendants of survivors, and our ancestors, this isn't the first pandemic that our ancestors had to endure, things like smallpox and measles and things like that. So just to remember that, you know, we are all descendants of survivors of past pandemics, and that we can get through this as well by drawing on their example and knowing that we have it within us to survive anything that gets thrown at us. And that, you know, that even though we're separate on different reservations and we've been divided, that we're all members of the Ocheti Sakomi, and we're all Lakota, and all across the indigenous peoples of Americas, you know, we're all, you know, we can all come together, and we've seen that before, that, you know, we can be strong, you know, there's strength in numbers. And so just to remember that connection that we all have to each other, and just a lot of love and respect.
Thank you. Colin and Jeremy?
Okay, so oh,
It's okay.
oh, it's on. Okay. I would say that you're never too old or too young to learn a different skill. So like this is my first year with the mural, and I don't have that much experience with the spray paint, but I'm learning. And you can always teach yourself something new. So always be willing to just try something different, because it's gonna hit you in a different way, maybe heal you in a different way, and it's gonna expand on other things as well.
I think for me, it's to let our people and our youth know, especially, that they belong. You know, that there's a place for them here in this world, and I guess to remember just to live boldly. You know, I think for far too long in generations of our people, we've been taught to kind of keep our heads down, or you know, just through various traumas, and it runs deep. You know, but there's something better on the other side of that healing, and that's possible. So, but you know, I know that art, you know, and we can all probably relate to say that, you know, art is a vehicle for healing. You know, it's through that ability to express. There's therapy, there's catharsis in it, and being able to help our people understand that art is what you make it. That it doesn't have to be, you know, always a paintbrush and an easel. You know, it can be a wall and a spray paint can. And however you want to use that, you know, I think as a graffiti writer, you know, you grow up and you know, through the process, and you learn a certain protocol that things are supposed to go this way, and you know, skill and style and all of these different types of things. But I think growing as an artist, you learn that, you know, it expands outside of all of that, and it is about the expression and the movement and the flow and all of that kind of, you know, the way that it allows you to live. You know, it brings out a different part of you, you know. So I think that's the message that I'd like to kind of share with people. So
Felt like you sent a really great message, Hoka, but do you want to add any thoughts to that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to sound really like egocentric on this or self-centered, but I get so much from that experience of being there and sharing the art that I fell in love with a long time ago. Graffiti, style writing, murals, however you look at these things, it's something that's very near and dear to me, and I you can't get me to shut up about it. But when I'm back up in Eagle Butte, there's something more that happens there, and there's something incredible because that connection back to Lakota culture, and then I feed off of that and learn more about myself and my people, and that alliance that we've had as peoples is connected in what seems like a new way, but really, you know, we've always had that strength together. And so just having that strength together, I think, is a good thing to remember. And whether that's young people picking up cans or their parents bringing them down to the art park. I miss the community feeds where we're all together, you know, sharing those spaces and just having something to eat and spending time together. Together as a community, we're very strong, and we've seen it now. Even though we're super far apart, we're still thinking about Eagle Butte and all the youth and everybody there.
And I intentionally saved you, Annalie, for last. I kind of wanted to rephrase it, just like, what do you hope that our community is taking away from RedCan?
They get, it's such a blessing, and it is such a I want to say refreshing, because when I travel across the country and I look at different areas and I see what happens in other towns, but then we come home and we see what we see. And what happened is that I feel like culturally what happened is that when they got to our borders, the roots were not put down. They were just set here thinking that they would just move on. And we have endured that history, so that, you know, from the railroad and the separation of our lands, and you know, just turning our villages into towns, and you know, the structure and all of that. And that really does not represent us. It, you know, like when people came down from Cherry Creek up to Dupree, they would actually take them in team and wagon, and they would cut across Jess and Edie Knight's place, and they still had those roads, those ruts in the prairie from that. But also, it would take them 2 days. It is like now, what does it take us? You know, 30 to 45 minutes to get where we want to be. But the thing is that with the art gives people the opportunity to come together, and it also gives the people a voice that they didn't know that they had. Sometimes when they see a piece, they're able to just take that to their spirit and to move out from that area. So when we start talking about our children and our adults, you know, and all of the I say the lifestyle that they might have to endure, you know, art gives them the opportunity to tune that out, but to get in touch with themselves. You know, we've talked about healing, and we've talked about how, you know, the medicine, and I'm you know, I've been really quiet about all of that, because sometimes you're tagged as a witch or a hippie or a holistic person, or, you know, they get all these tags on that stuff. And actually, it's part of your culture. It's part of who you are. I remember my mom saying that when one of the grandmothers moved out to Washington State, and there was all this fruit, and she was canning it, and those people were saying, "What are you doing that for?" But she hadn't come from South Dakota. You know, they had not experienced what we experience here, which has always been giving you the second best, and we have accepted that. So what we can do with RedCan is we can jump off of there, and we can say, we're not trying to be better than anybody else, but what we're trying to do is to give our community something that they need. They need you, they need our artists, and sometimes it just is a project. The project that I did for the hospital for IHS actually came from Becky's accident, because I spent 3 weeks in ICU, and I can tell you that there was nothing on those walls that helped me, that spiritually or emotionally, they were just bare walls. And to live right there at ICU for her to go see her at any given time, which was like a 2 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning, or every 2 hours I was in there checking out and seeing how she was doing. So when that project came to my table, I really thought about how I could give that experience back to our people. So the experience is that I can give them their pictures. I can give you pictures that you have not seen, or that you've seen once and you kind of remember. And I collected pictures from all over. You know, there was like 400, just under 400 photos that I did for the hospital. And I heard a doctor say, I don't know if I don't think I'm in a hospital. I think I'm in a gallery. And I thought, bingo, you know, that's what I want to hear. But people can go to a place like that where they think that they're going to be healed, and they don't know the answer. They haven't heard what the solution is. But by giving them an avenue of looking at who has gone ahead of you, who has survived ahead of you, with joy, with laughter, with tears, and survive. That's what we're on this survival mode, but also like, let's get this survival mode right. Let's create an environment that really speaks to the heart, speak to the soul, and it will help heal. It won't do everything, but it will help. You know, like our young children, our young kids that, like today, they were just like full of giggles, 6 feet apart. It was so sweet to see them over there, because, you know, like, it's okay that you have some organization. That's part of it, you know, but that's part of keeping them safe. So, you know, we need to just remember that this is just this COVID-19 thing is just, it's not going to last forever. And it's probably something that I would say, you know, not a whole lot of people have experienced. I can say that it kind of reminds me of like Stevan, because you were isolated, you were, you know, put in a situation to where you didn't go left and you didn't go right. You tried to stay right in the middle, and you know, it was a controlling environment. And those are the things that I feel like people are just like punching the bag at, and they don't understand why. But until you've experienced it, and you need to experience it. So I might have got a little bit off of the subject, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I wanted to say to you today about today was that, you know, as the images started to roll in, every single one of us, the very small but mighty CRYP team was here. And as the images started rolling in, I can assure you that everybody was just very humbled and honored by what you're creating, and the enthusiasm and energy that you put into helping us get this virtual event off the ground. I had no idea how it was going to play out, but I have to give absolute props to my staff, and because they just knew what to do. And but I'm just so grateful for you, you know, that you want to continue to be a part of our family. And like I said, you know, we're going to be together. We're going to be together soon. I wanted to mention to those of you who are watching tonight, the millions of viewers who are out there, that the images, the prints will be available on our website. And I think you can go there now to check them out. We will have a limited edition of 20 of each of the prints available on our website. So please stop by and visit. I also want to ask you to be sure and watch the panels that we've had all week. Check out our RedCan gallery on our website. Reach out to me if you have questions specifically I've already had folks reaching out for me for next year. How can I be involved? How can I support it? So I just feel really great that RedCan is such a feel good project, and it feels as good to you all, my family, as it does to us. So this concludes our RedCan 2020, and I want to tell you thank you so much for participating. And I'm gonna get East. He dropped off, but we're gonna get him here to cook some grouse while he paints his big prairie chicken in the art park. So much love to all of you. Thank you for participating in RedCan 2020. You are absolutely the best. I love and I miss you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Lakota people and many other indigenous cultures to adorn your clothing and your homes with designs that tell stories and tell part of that history. And to me, this is a continuation of like a teepee painting or painting on a parfleche or a hide painting. This is an extension of that tradition. It's just contemporized because it's with aerosols instead of earth pigments. Stories, history, words, language, these kind of cornerstones of culture, and they get infused into these murals.
Being able to incorporate the Lakota language into a lot of the pieces in the murals creates a sense of pride in a way that relates to them and allows them to be able to embrace it and think a little bit more about it. I think it's important because as Indigenous people, our language allows us an ability to see the world from a perspective that isn't available in the English language, because there are words that we have that relate concepts, relate emotions that don't translate into another language. So our Indigenous, traditional people, they had a view of the world that a lot of times in modern times seems out of reach or isn't as easy to access because we're not able to understand it. But I think what we're doing here is opening a door for that to come back, and for our young people to be able to think differently about who it is that they are and the kind of culture that they come from.